much do UFC fighters really make from pay-per-view? Have you ever wondered about the financial side of the world of mixed martial arts? Today, we're diving deep into the numbers to uncover the truth about UFC fighter earnings. UFC 301 event took place at rioarena, featuring a main card aired on pay-per-view and prelims on ESPN2 and espnplus. Fighters from Saturday's UFC 301 event took home UFC Promotional Guidelines compliance pay totaling $280,000. Fighters were compensated based on their performance and experience. For example, Alexandrepantoja received $42,000 for his victory. Josealdo earned $21,000 for his win. Anthonysmith received $21,000 for his performance. Fighters are paid based on their total number of UFC bouts and experience levels. For instance, fighters with 1 to 3 bouts receive $4,000 per appearance. Champions earn $42,000, while title challengers get $32,000. In addition to experience-based pay, UFC fighters will receive royalty payments amounting to 20 to 30% of any UFC merchandise sold that bears their likeness. The total payouts for the year 2024 under the UFC Promotional Guidelines Compliance Program amounted to $2,920,000, contributing to the program's overall total. Full 2024 UFC Promotional Guidelines Compliance Payouts. UFC 301, Pantoja vs. Urseg, $280,000. UFC on ESPN 55, Nicolau vs. Perez, $175,000. UFC 300, Pereira vs. Hill, $460,000. UFC Fight Night 240, Allen vs. Curtis 2, $162,500. UFC on ESPN 54, Blanchfield vs. Firat, $173,000. UFC on ESPN 53, Rebus vs. Namajunas, $148,000. UFC Fight Night 239, Tuivasa vs. Tibura, $189,500.
UFC 299, O'Malley vs. Vera 2, $359.
UFC Fight Night 238, Rosenstruck vs. Gaziv, $133,500. UFC Fight Night 237, Moreno vs. Royval 2, $135,500. UFC 298, Volkanovski vs. Topuria, $243,000. UFC Fight Night 236, Hermansson vs. Pfeiffer, $236,500. UFC Fight Night 235, Dalids vs. Imavov, $170,500.
UFC 297, Strickland vs. Duplessis $285,500.
UFC Fight Night 234, Ankaleev vs. Walker 2, $159,500.